This is a great amount of work. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Cohen, for once again leading this work session on return to school and Ms. Omage. So there are two places where I'd hope and expected to see some more strategic use of our resources. So one area is the use of the virtual instruction. First off, let me say that concurrent is a no-go for me. It was a no-go on October 15th, and I remain unsupportive of it. I know it had a limited use, but I do not think it is good enough for our students, and it's just not good enough for them. Second, what I've heard today is basically two buckets of instruction. One's all in person and one's all virtual, but what I haven't heard is about that space in between, which is if kids are in quarantine due to contracting COVID or their family has it, even if it's a low occurrence, how do we serve these children? So let's say they've got to leave for 14 days and be out of the classroom or longer. What's happening during that 14 days? That's what I thought when concurrent would be used in a super limited way. This way the student could still plug in every now and then with their class and their teacher, and then do asynchronous work or something else. So I haven't heard that talked about, and I really would like to hear that, please. Although the other aspect of it is, how can this option of virtual really transform how student needs are best met? So while I agree with limiting the accommodations related to COVID, we've heard that students, some of them are thriving in a virtual environment, regardless of the health risks. So I don't see this innovation around how we use these investments in hardware, software, professional development, student capacity to use technology to actually help students learn better. What about all those students for whom virtual school was actually really good? Just saying you can only do virtual if you have a medical need related to COVID. What's the balance between offering that option and not opening the system up to having to have, again, a whole other virtual offering, that eclipses the in-person. Regarding virtual Virginia, my first question is it legal? Is it legal to offer virtual instruction full-time, given the ban on virtual instruction by the Virginia General Assembly and the governor bypassing Senate Bill 1303 last month? I'd like that answer, please. And does virtual Virginia have the capacity to serve the number of kids at the level of quality that our school division demands? Having looked at Montgomery County's virtual academy, in hindsight now I see, just looking at it yesterday, but I understand the superintendent's, comment about let's not stand up something separate, but that makes me wonder, what's more cost benefit? And then if students enroll in virtual Virginia, what happens to the staff, our staff who would have otherwise taught those students? Does this lower class size for in person, or is staff going to be reassigned? I also would like some, I think concurrent should just be off the table. If we must continue to talk about it, we must define what limited use means. Great, thank you. And I just want to finish up my earlier thoughts about how we can be strategic about the use of time. So particularly planning time in elementary school. I think one of the slides somewhere mentioned specific supports to protect this. And planning time was a big challenge before COVID, and now teachers have had the benefit of the Monday planning times. And I'm just so concerned that we're gonna revert back to that old structure that really creates inferior planning time to serve our kids. Similarly with SAC, I saw in the presentation and I heard, that we're gonna go back to the way it used to be. And the way it used to be was a 2-year plus waiting list. And, that plus the opportunities we're doing with expanded summer learning, like we are just at like a once in a generation point where we can really transform these practices. So what can we do to either pilot or make some bold moves to not put us back in these ruts that did not serve kids and families? I do want to say I am so thrilled about the 50 outdoor classrooms. That may be the silver lining of this pandemic. But the next step to maximize that investment is to dedicate staff to supporting educators to use it as a real instructional space. So if that's possible in this upcoming budget, let's do it. If not, let's commit to that in the next year if we really want to advance our outdoor learning that research shows is an asset for education. So again, I really want to see us seize these opportunities we have. If we can't do it in the short term, what's the longer term planning on being strategic to really create the education approach that we know we want for our kids and that we've been hearing about in research for so many years, we can grasp it. So I'm eager to help that work move forward and center students. We have to center them. So thank you.